What is today? The 30th of July. No, January. I want it to be summer. That's the secret here. So tonight we're going to do a baby bass, and I'm going to try a few different variations on a baby bass. And then a little bit later, Chris is going to do some cold water fishing techniques with blade baits, spoons, and spin devils, the lures that are on my my website. And if you're looking to order, guys, my website is coloradocustomlures.com. The easiest way to reach me is by PM on Facebook, or you can email me at coloradolures@gmail.com. Phone is really hard to reach me by phone because I'm always either wearing a respirator or taking care of kids because I do stay at home with my kids. So please, if at all possible, message me. It helps me keep a record of what we talked about, and it's much easier for me to respond. Very hard for me to find time to call people and chat. So I appreciate that. So if you have any special requests, that being said, I will do any colors you want. Just let me know. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to do a 2.5 square bill. I know I do those a lot, but they are very a nice bigger lure to paint, which gives me a little bit better canvas. It's similar to a shad rag, obviously, and these are silent. They just have some weights in the front to mid area. And these are really popular baits for trolling or walleye fishing, but they are really effective for bass too. The minnows are not used as much as I think they could be for bass. I tested a lot of minnows this summer trying to find good trout minnows and walleye minnows, new stuff, and I caught a lot of bass. So I don't know. You just never know, right? Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. I've got a couple taped up. I'm trying to pull the feed up here on my other device, but it's not coming up. So hang on one second here. Can you figure out why that's not turning on? There we go. All right. I was just turning on my extra light so you guys can see me better. All right, so let me see if I can find the comments here. And then I'll pin the website as well. So there it is. And make sure my daughter probably has this turned all the way up. All right. Welcome, guys. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Awesome. I'm going to go ahead and pin the website. We have lots of awesome-looking blade baits in stock. If you haven't fished those and you want to know how, stick around in a little bit here. Chris will talk about effective ways to fish those. And I'll pin this real quick. And pin. There we go. Okay, so this is the brush that I use most for water-based paints. This is my Owada Eclipse, and I don't, there's no particular reason I use this one for water-based paints, except that I try to keep my airbrushes separate between lacquer and water-based. If you clean them out, it's not terrible to switch back and forth between them, but just so that I can kind of like not worry about that, I try to use my Eclipse for my water-based paint patterns, and then I do paint most of the time with lacquer paints. So I use mostly Badgers for that, and I don't really have a huge preference either way. So I think I recommend both. Sorry, my needle is stuck, so I'm just trying to get it unstuck. There we go. Sometimes they get stuck, like a little bit of paint will get dried in your brush, and you can just put some water in there, and I just like take a pliers, get the needle to pull back a little bit, and then you'll be fine. And it should slide right back to working order. So, all right, first things first, we're going to do a little bit of white base coat. I was thinking about doing one in a ghost pattern, and I think I'm going to try that with one of the minnows. So we'll try a few different color schemes, see what we like best, okay? I looked at some pictures and all that good stuff. Thanks, you guys, so much for the feedback. Oh, are they? Awesome, David. See, he's having good luck with the ice fishing jigs. And then also a reminder to everybody that we are live on YouTube as well. Is the camera catching me? Okay, all right. I am live now simultaneously on YouTube and Facebook at the same time. So if you want a wider view of what we're doing, you can see more on the YouTube feed because of the way the camera. I'm using like a webcam specifically designed for video blogging, so it will look a little better probably. And then I'm keeping my Facebook camera close so you guys can see a little bit better close up if you want to have that option instead. So I haven't, people did mention there was some like white noise or a lot of background noise when my compressor came on and my heater. And I'm working on that, but I haven't gotten a fix for it just yet. Anyone is very good at that kind of stuff, like doing YouTube videos and, you know, the sound portion of it. Feel free to shoot me a PM because I could use some advice. I'm not using GoPro, so that's what most people who do like fishing videos have experience with. We have a GoPro. It's just not very, it's an older GoPro, and I thought that this camera would be better for live shows than a GoPro would be. And GoPros are really expensive, so someday I'll probably spring for a new GoPro, but as of right now, I don't have a newer one. So if we have the 3, and we haven't used it nearly as much as we should. All right, so I'm just priming these up. I'm going to leave this one plain, so I'm actually going to spray that with a transparent base. Yeah, you know what, David, Chris went out and looked at the ice on the lake the other day to see if it was thick enough to ice fish from out here, but it was still a little sketchy, so he wanted to try for some crappie too, but we have to drive up in elevation a little bit to get to solid ice. So it's kind of a day trip to do that. And you never know how long the 5-year-old is actually going to tolerate ice fishing. So it's kind of like, do you really want to go all the way up there and then just turn around after a half hour, you know? Am I right? Mm-hmm. Chris is like, yes, you are. All right. Thank you, Kyle. I'm so glad you like those. Hello, everybody. I use Illumi UV, except for on my metal. On the metal, I have been using Tamco High Impact Automotive Clear on the metal. And I use Bulldog Adhesion Promoter before I spray them to make sure that it doesn't chip off. And I do use lacquer paints. I don't use water-based paints. I'm sorry. This chair is tall and my feet don't reach the ground. So I like slide off a little bit. Okay. Short people problems, right? You've been on 5 or better for 2 weeks. Really? That's awesome. Good eating, huh? Yeah, what was it out there? 4-ish?
No, 3.
3 inches. Yeah, he said it was only about 3 inches out there. So YouTube camera needs to come down just a hair to see what you're doing on the bait. Can't see the bait. Okay, Chris is messing with it a little bit right now. Okay, so now that I've got that on, I'm going to grab my transparent base. The paints are just right here behind me. I'm going to put them up here, actually. Well, I can't really do that because I'm afraid I'll cave in my... I'll just grab what I need and I'll put this down again. So this is one of my buckets to paint. So I'm just going to grab out some things that I think I'm going to use tonight. I grabbed some stuff, but I didn't grab it all. So I'm just going gonna grab a bunch of other stuff real quick here that I think I might try, and we'll see how it goes. Not teal, green. Okay, and then this is another green that I might use. And then, where's my gold is my question. Will you do me a human? Oh, you can't. Never mind.
Your YouTube, you ain't got nothing pinned.
Okay, can you do that?
Like,
huh?
It won't let me from this page.
You can't do it on the computer?
I can't
Okay.
put the YouTube on your Facebook. You don't have it pinned.
I don't know what that means.
Pinned at the bottom?
No, I don't know if I can do that or not. You want me to try?
No.
So he was saying that I should try and pin the YouTube link to my page on the bottom of my Facebook feed. So I'll try doing that here in just a minute. All right, so I'm gonna start with I'll just use 40-30 as a base. This is just balancing clear. You can use it as a base as well. Let me see if I can figure this out. Huh. Oh, that's not right. Yeah, I don't think I can figure it out right now. Like, you can go to my YouTube app and you can try if you want to, but I don't know if you'll pull it up. I'll try and pin it later. I don't want to waste too much time here working, trying to pin the YouTube. If somebody else publishes or wants to post a link for the YouTube channel, then I can copy and paste it. So this is balancing clear. It's just going to give the paint a little bit of something to stick to. It looks fuzzy, but once you paint it, once you clear coat it, it'll look clear. I didn't want to spray through my gun without being reduced, so I kind of stopped it up a little bit there. Let's see. Got in trouble, caught the ice, they were unseparated, and the Coast Guard had to look for them. Oh my gosh. See, that's just terrifying. I don't know. I haven't seen anything like that happen, but I don't really want to find out what it's like to be that freaking scared. Oh, okay, great. Darla has the link. And I couldn't get the thumbnail. Why didn't that work? I couldn't get the thumbnail changed to the picture. It won't paste. Okay, I'll just pin this. Okay, now my website's not pinned though, so maybe we'll switch it back and forth. All right, let's go to white, pearl white. This is Aztec, Tester's Aztec pearl white. So I'm just gonna do one of these in pearl white, and I'll leave one of them in flat white. This is like not wanting to spray tonight. I don't know what its issue is, but I'm gonna put a little reducer in here to see if I can get it to go a little bit better, and then I might have to mess with my gun. There might be something stuck in here. It's not spraying very well. So I'm just putting a little bit of pearl white on this. The Aztec pearl white is a nice shiny pearl white that normally sprays great right out of the bottle, but my gun seems to be kind of like clogged up a little bit. It wasn't the last time I used it, so I don't know if something dried in it while it was sitting, but that's my own fault. If that's the case, I should have probably checked it. It's spraying, but not as as good as it should be. Let me make sure my air is turned up. It's not. That's why. Did you just move my camera?
Yeah.
So you can't see me anymore at all, just my lure?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, so this is the pearl white. All right. So I'm going to leave the other one just a solid white, and we'll go on. So you'll see more of me on YouTube at this point, and you'll see more of what I'm doing on the Facebook feed. They tow boats behind their sleds in case that happens. That's a good idea. Video is good on YouTube. Yeah, it looks better on YouTube for sure. It's just because the camera's a lot better. It's more meant for doing this kind of stuff. All right, so on this next one, I'm going to do a little bit of a darker color. This is raw umber, and I'm going to put that underneath the top section to spray scales over, and we're going to do like a scale pattern on the high sides of this. And on the ghost one, I'm trying to think what I want to do. I'll probably do the same thing on this one. So raw umber is kind of like a brownish greenish color. It's a really good color for like bass. It's also a really good color for like shading, you know, like if you want to go over something and kind of like dull it or make it look a little more earthy. It's similar to sepia, except for it's got more of like a greenish brown instead of like a brown, like a straight brown. It reminds me of the bass green colors that the taxidermy paints, like the dark bass green taxidermy paints. So it's a good fish color if you haven't tried this one. So that's what it looks like. I'm going to go darker on this because I'm going to do a scale pattern over it. And this has already got no bait. So I can go a little darker. The bottom half of this will be transparent, and I'll probably put some kind of like a shimmer paint on it. So I'm going to do the same thing on, I'm going to try black on 2 of these, and I'm going to stick with the umber on 2 of them, and I'm going to see what I like better once they're finished. So I've done baby bass before, and I had a pretty good pattern down. I'm just playing around. I usually change something every time I do a pattern over again. I usually change. I'm always changing it and evolving it into something a little bit better or a little bit different. As you build your skills, you start to think of new ways to do things. And I don't know, then your patterns start to look a little better every time you do them. And you'll notice if you're a newer painter over time, that will be the case. All right, so I'm going to clean this out and put black in for the next set. And then we're going to do like, I'm probably going to do like some lime green scales on a couple of them. And then maybe some gold scales, and then I'll shade over those gold scales with like either a candy green or a leaf green or moss. I mean, there's a lot more things I want to try than I really got time for right now, just to see what looks better. But this is black. This is Wicked Detail Black. I think it sprays a little smoother than the regular Createx black, and it goes really far. You really don't need much. I pre-reduce it, and then I put it in these bottles that I got from like Hobby Lobby. So I just do like a half and half reducer to paint ratio, and then I just reduce a little bit at a time. And I do the same thing with my white, which I use. It's Wicked Detail Flat Opaque White. That's what I like for a white. And I'm just doing like black, but it's like I'm not doing a solid black. It's just more like a see-through black, if that makes sense. And that'll just kind of give me something to lay my scales over. Hang on. It came off the wall. This is what I hang my baits on while I'm painting. They're on pegboard. You can probably see it in the YouTube video, but not so much in the other one. I use Createx Reducer. The 4012 was discontinued. So it's either 4013 or 11 or 4011. 4011 is meant for high temperature. So if you have a lot of heat where you're like, if you're painting outside or you're painting in a hot garage or something. But some people just like the 4011 in general. There's no reason not to use it all the time. And then I believe that 4013 replaced 4012, but don't quote me on that. I know they don't have 4012 anymore. But they all, honestly, I can't tell the difference between any of them. So you can use any of those. Yeah. Yeah, I have like 100 red craws ready to go, guys. They just need to be, they need eyeballs and clear coat. So if you were looking for some spring craws, they're coming. All right, share the feed if you can, please. I'd love to see more people on tonight. And share the YouTube link with your friends. Moss green, yep, it's a good shading color too. Just catching up, you guys, on comments. Yes, the ever-evolving patterns. They do definitely change over time, but it's a good thing. So lime green is a good color to start with, and you can always shade over top of it. And that's usually the case. I mean, there's not very many lures, I would say, that I paint where lime green, unless it's like a walleye bait, where lime green is like used by itself, if that makes any sense. And I just put enough reducer in here, you guys, so that it's kind of got like a milky consistency. And there's no set amount or ratio. It depends on the paint. Some paints are thicker out of the bottle than others, so you just kind of have to eyeball it. And I just put, these are like a ketchup bottle kind of thing that you can get at Hobby Lobby too. All right, so I'm just going to grab this is one of my meshes that I use for scales, and I just suspend them in a, it's a cross stitch loom, like what you use to hold cross stitch designs. A lot of painters use them for holding mesh. And then just press it as tight as you can against the lure. Oh, you got 4012 still? I don't know. My understanding was that it was going to be discontinued, but some suppliers might still have it in stock. This isn't spraying very good. Okay. So some of the pearls can be a bit of a bear to spray, so you have to use a lot of pressure sometimes. And then just do light coats so you don't overdo it. This thing is stuck. Did I get like, I can't. Whoa. I wonder if I got clear coat in there. Like it's stuck. I'm gonna have to get a new hairdryer. I'm not even joking. I think I might have gotten some clear coat on it. Like I spray tan coat for my blades, and I wonder if I got tan coat on my hairdryer, and now look, the power button is stuck. I don't use that. I don't use water-based paints a lot, so I didn't know that. I think this brush is clogged, is what I think. So you can't even see these scales like at all. So I'm gonna say nay on the raw umber underneath. You just can't see them. So one thing to try here is to make the scales darker than the raw umber. But I'm gonna try the black with the lime green scales. See what happens. But I'm checking to see if this is clogged first, real quick. Could just be the tip. Or not. I don't know. find out. I'm pretty good at cleaning my stuff out. I don't usually get too many problems with clogging, but yeah, it's a little better. So I'm going to dry this as I go. This is the problem, is this stuff is terrible. I don't think my compressor's even come on yet. Is it on?
Yeah.
Did it come on already? It did? See, I don't even notice it. Okay, I'm just going to chill and let this dry because my hairdryer is literally stuck. I need my one from upstairs. Okay, so that looks way better. That's over black. So I think that's gonna be the way to go. I can just go over it with black, honestly, you guys, and then just do what I was doing. But you know, that looks, I do like how it looks though. It just doesn't look like a pass. I mean, I can shade it with some moss green and we'll see how that goes, but all in all, I'm thinking that the black just works better. No, I'm not going to get out the inks. They're too hard to spray, and my brush is already not spraying great, so I'm not going to be getting any inks out tonight, unfortunately. That'll just end in disaster and frustration. Okay. And then I was going to do the other set of scales. I'll do the other set of scales in gold, so I'll go back over them with black, and then I'll do the scales in gold. But this looks pretty good actually for the scales in the lime green. Try not to use the dryer too much because it's too hard to turn on. I don't know how I managed to do that, but these are the stupid problems you run into when you're a lure painter. Alcohol on the switch. Yeah, I could. If it's dried Tamco, though, that won't do anything. This is going, I'm spraying this downward, and I'm getting overspray right now, so I'm going to have to back blend this now. This hairdryer is kind of in my style right now. So I got way more green down low there, so I'm going to have to back blend this. It just looks way different than the other side, which is my own fault. I'm struggling today, guys. So I got to do the other side of this, and then I'll move on. And we'll try gold scales with the sepia or the moss green blend over top. This thing is not spraying right. It's spraying to the side right now. It's empty. It's one of those days, apparently. So I'm just putting a little more paint in here. I ran out. Share the feed if you can, guys. I appreciate the shares. A lot of overspray on that one, too. Thank you for the stars, Anthony. Okay. So I got way too much green down low on this one too, and not enough on top. So I'm just like struggling today, guys. All right, I'm gonna spray this out. I'm done with that crap. And I'm gonna put some alcohol through this to see if I can get the. I'm gonna check out my nozzle real quick. See if that's the problem. Not really. Sometimes you can just scrape it out a little bit with your own needle, like this. And there might be some gunk in there that's making it spray like crap. Which I think might be the case, actually. Let me see if I can spray alcohol through it or if I'm totally clogged. I'll just switch to my Badger brush. Yeah, I'll just switch. I don't usually switch, but it's gunked up. All right, black. So we'll go back to black since that moss did not turn out very well on this one. And I'll darken this up a little bit. That might be a good, actually, it might be a good look to have the umber sticking out underneath the black. Do you guys see that? How it's popping these? That might be actually like just another layer of add some depth or whatever to the design. Like those are the accidents that sometimes you find end up making your design look better and you didn't mean to. This is a Badger Extreme Patriot with a 0.5 conversion kit on it. So this is actually a 0.5 needle. I actually like spraying with 0.5. A lot of people will spray with 0.2s, but I personally, Bob Ross, yeah, happy mistake. I personally find that I can do super fine detail with 0.5, no problem. If your trigger control is good, you don't really need a 0.2 for Lord painting. Some people disagree with me, but personal preference. So let's go back over this same way with the gold, and then we'll just shade over top of it. That came out kind of watery. I usually wear gloves, John, I just forgot. And I've already forgot too many things. I don't really feel like taking the time to go put gloves on now either. I normally paint with a lacquer, and you don't really want to get lacquer on your hands. It's not good for you. Okay, so here's the gold, and you don't really have to dry the testers paints as much because they're much more fast drying, and that's why I like them, but they just don't come in a lot of different colors. So I just have their metallics, the gold, copper, silver, and white. So those are must-haves in my opinion. They're a tiny bit more expensive than Createx, but they go a long way. You'll have a bottle for a really long time. So there's the gold over black, and then we'll just shade over it to make the pattern look a little bit more green, like the bass. So I'm going to do the same thing on this minnow. That's a ghost minnow. I'll take my clip off. Hello, painting my nails. I feel like the only time my nails ever get painted is when I do this. Points on my site? Do you mean stars? No, I haven't sprayed with their Grex before. I use their quick disconnects, but I do not use their airbrush. Their airbrushes. I don't my knowledge. I'm sure I know somebody that has one. I just don't think they've ever mentioned it to me. So most all the people that I know use either Badger or Awada and are still in the dark ages and using masters. But I can't deal with master brushes. I did for like a year and I just couldn't take it anymore. They clog way too easy. So if you're doing like one lure here and there, a master brush is probably fine. It's going to be a lot more frustrating to deal with than a quality brush, but I mean, if you're just painting a few lures here and there, you might be able to get by with a master brush if you have patience and you know how to clean things more excessively than you ever thought you would need to clean things. Okay, so I'm gonna clean that out. And then we'll do some markings on the side next. So they're gonna have, this is the stencil I cut a long time ago by hand for the baby bass. They have, you know, that like jagged midline or whatever. And then I have a face stencil that I cut as well. And then I'm gonna use my 3D stencil too. You guys can tell me what you like better. This is just the face stripes that I cut. Real fancy, I know. And then some stencils that I can use for the texture on the top. The random spots they have on the top, you know, like right along the spine area. The new masters are better. I have not heard that, but I would doubt they've made improvements. I don't even know what. I think I still have mine, but like I should just donate them to somebody because I literally will never use them again. I should give them to somebody that's just starting out. If you need an airbrush and you want a cheap one, I mean, they're only $20 anyway, but if you're on a really tight budget and you need an airbrush, I will ship it to you if you pay shipping. I don't even know if the needles are in good shape or anything like that, though. Okay, so the midline, I'm going to do like a mixture of moss green and black, probably. You could do, or sepia maybe even. You could do umber for that too, and it would probably look pretty good. But maybe I'll try each way and see how it goes. I think that the stars translate into money, but it's I don't really know how it works. Like I haven't gotten that many stars because I don't like ask for them or anything like that. But it's just one of those things that you enable once you reach a certain number of like page followers. I know like some people who are gamers can make a lot of money off stars because people just, you know, it's like they're paying them to play video games basically. But I personally haven't pushed it because it's just something, if you want to do it, that's really cool of you. But I by no means expect any sort of money for what I'm doing. But I teach a lot of people who are new to airbrush painting lures, so it's an option if you feel like it. Okay, so I think it's like every 100 stars is $1 or something. I don't even know. I'd have to look. I looked one time and then never again. So I'm just lining the stencil. I put this as a fine mesh that I put. It's a stretchier version of tulle that I found at Walmart. And I'm going to put that there to give it more of a texture, like a scale-like texture. And I'm going to go straight across from the eye to the tail, right along the midline. Okay, and this color, let's make sure this looks good. This is a mixture of moss green and sepia. It might be too green. If it is, then I'll come back. On the next one, I'll do a different color. So we're just playing around now. I don't expect these to turn out perfect. Okay, so that's way too light. So I'm going to add some black. Okay, you can't even hardly see it. So I'm going to add some black, and we're going to do the other side with a darker color. So when you add the black, you don't want to just add a drop because you're going to basically turn your paint. You're going to turn the whole thing black. You just want to like get a little bit on your brush and then stir it up, and that was probably even too much that I just used. Now it looks like a really dark blackish green now. You'll see what I'm talking about when I spray it. You get points by buying your lures and stuff. Are you talking about the loyalty program? I just started that. So it's an app that they offer now through Shopify where you can get rewards for purchases. And I just set that up like a couple days ago. I found out they were doing that now. And there's another one that they're supposed to be coming up with soon too that I was pretty excited about, but I can't remember what it is now off the top of my head. Okay.
Which brand of paint are you using?
Right now I'm using Wicked. Createx Wicked, but I use mostly lacquer paints when I'm painting. I just don't use lacquer when I'm live because I can't breathe it at all. Water-based is still not good to breathe, but it's a lot better than lacquer. And I also use, there are other brands I use. This is Comart by, it's by the same company that makes Iwata.
Just hold your stuff right where your hands are at. They're both.
Okay. And then this is Testors Aztec. And these are really good paints too. But there's a few other brands you can use. Golden paints are good. And let me see what else. I'm not sure, but most people use Createx. It's the most popular by far of all the airbrush paints for lures. Wicked is more designed for plastics versus like the regular Createx, which was designed for shirts and clothing. A lot of people don't know that, but it does have adhesion issues sometimes with plastic. Like people will prime with Createx white and have adhesion issues. It's not really designed for plastic. Like this is the regular Createx. Okay, and then this is the Wicked colors. And they're meant more for like different mediums versus just fabrics. Like they're designed for t-shirt painters, basically, and stuff. They still work, but it's just not what they're designed for. So that looks pretty good, I think. I like the gold. We're gonna shade it with some green in a minute, but I'll finish all these stripes on these different colors, and then we'll go and do some shading. And then I also have to do the face stencils, but I don't know if I'm going to finish all of these because I want you guys to get a chance to listen to cold water fishing techniques. If you guys haven't fished blade baits much, I have a new line of blade baits that Chris is pouring and I'm painting. And they're extra super good looking and they fish awesome. And if you haven't used them, he is going to talk a little bit about some techniques to catching fish with them. So you can't really see this very well on this transparent bait. It doesn't show up very well. So I think what I'm going to have to do is do the solid line versus the scaled line on this minnow just to make it darker. It's just not showing up. So I'm just going to go ahead and that looks better. So that's interesting. It's interesting how the paint lays down. Totally different depending on what's behind it. And you'll learn that over time if you start painting lures. So you can see the midline now. So I'll do the other side now real quick. You wish I did that a long time ago. It wasn't built into the Shopify web platform that I use. They didn't have that until just now. And as soon as I saw that it was available to do the loyalty program, I added it, but I didn't have the option before. Okay. It's ever evolving, and I can't remember, oh, that's what it was. A referral program. So they're supposed to be developing an app that can give you credit for referrals as well. And that is something that they're working on apparently. So I'd like to do that too, where you can get some kind of a deal, discount for sending your friends and family my way. Okay. So let me try and speed this up a little bit. Sure, I can hold it up longer. Just trying to get through this so we're not here till like 10 o'clock at night, but if I'm moving too fast, just let me know. Okay. So I'm going to make sure I go nice and dark with this. And I'm going to need some more paint here in a second. So go all the way across here. I would think these baby bass minnows would be super like in the spring after spawn. These minnows, because they're going to be definitely chasing all of those little baby bass. Okay, moss green again, and some sepia, and then some black. So, hello, guys. Thanks for joining us. Share if you can. I pinned at the bottom Darla helped me with pinning at the bottom my YouTube channel. If you want to subscribe while you're there, I do my show on YouTube now as well, and it has a totally different view. So I do them simultaneously, so you can watch either one, whatever you like better. This one's going to be much closer up, and then that one's you're going to be able to see a lot more of my shop and stuff. And the sound quality and stuff is probably going to be better. Hello. I'm just adding some black to this till I get it to the darkness I want, and it's not happening. It's not happening. I really don't want to put a whole drop in here because I'm afraid it's going to get too dark, but this is taking way too much work. See, I knew that was going to happen. We're just going to waste a whole bunch of paint here. What are you guys doing on the 13th? You got a tournament? These are pre-reduced, by the way. These 3 colors is why I'm not putting any reducer in here. I never thought to tell you that, but these are pre-reduced in like bottles that I bought. So I don't, actually, you know what? I'm just not going to back blend this. The other side looks good, so you guys will be able to see what it looks like. I don't remember what I was talking about now. Any questions you have, feel free to ask. Dropping the Aztec line? No, I did not hear that. I should go buy some more gold because I'm about out, and I love their gold. I don't use water-based much anymore, but I definitely like. It's the only good like full coverage gold color, if that makes any sense. All the others are very transparent, and sometimes I don't want to spray 400 coats. I just want it to be done. So there is the minnow with the line. Okay, so let's do a little bit of texture across the top here. I have a couple different stencils, so I'm going to probably use this small one. This is Blotchy Micro by Anarchy Models. And they're in the UK, and they do ship to the United States. It just takes a little bit of time to get them. Did I miss any other questions? Thank you. Your snow is turning into mud, I bet. So I'm just going to go along the top here, and I'm going to just make some like small spots along the top like the bass actually have. Right along the top by the spine. And, oh boy. Kids. Probably fighting. Oh, the drama, right? So there's some, I don't know if you can see that very well. I might have to go a little darker with the paint. There's just a little bit of texture on top of the scales there to make it look a little more realistic. And then when I come back, I'm going to put a little bit of sepia down to make that a little bit more green. This one looks good, I think. So I'll shade over that too. This is a bigger splotchy. This is the regular splotchy stencil. So it comes in like larger. It's like there's like a bunch of different like sizes is what I'm trying to say of the texture stencils. You can get ones with really small dots. You can get ones with really big dots. You can get ones that have dots that are really spread out and ones that have dots that are really close together. He made a whole bunch of different ones for lure painting, the guy who owns Anarchy, and they're all excellent. So there's those spots along the top edge there that look kind of just like the bass looks, the baby bass. These are largemouth if anybody wasn't sure. I do have a 3D stencil for baby bass, and I'll show you what it looks like, but I'm not a huge fan of the pattern, and you guys might disagree, but it's also like the stencil that everybody and their mom has already, so it makes it much more generic. And this is what it looks like. So I've used this for like my the midnight shimmer colors just to put the blue pattern on there, you know, but I haven't used it much for actual bass patterns because I don't personally think it looks that realistic. So there's that. So let's do a little bit of green shading. And then I'm going to come back with this dark color, which I wish I could save. Yeah, I can save it. I'll just use this brush also. And then I'll just have to clean these out with some thinner when I'm done and pray that they don't get gunked up. All right. Just for time's sake. And I'm not going to mess with this last one probably because it's got a big mess on it and I don't want it to take too long. So I'm going to put some moss green in here and I'm just going to shade over top of this. I'm going to thin it out really thin. That's already thinned. I already thinned it, but I'm going to put more thinner in there because I just want this to sort of gradually make a green color over top. Best time to fish is in the snow. That's what Chris says too. Getting a foot of snow in Massachusetts Tuesday. I don't know how much are we supposed to get. Any?
No.
We're not?
No.
It's crazy. Usually we get the snow before you guys do, but not. Okay. So I'm just going to shade over top of these gold scales with the green. The moss green. So the gold for the good coverage and then shading with the green to get the color. Sometimes you have to think outside of the box about what's going to work best. And sometimes it's not always one color. Sometimes it's better if you just use two colors and shade them. See that? So now it's green, but kind of brown, which is really what they look like. So I'm going to go over the top with the green, and then I'll come back and I'll hit it up with a dark, like a black for the top or black brown. And then we'll do the minnows. This is the ghost. Okay, so I'm going to throw some dots on this real quick, and then I'll shade over top of it. I'm going to try the bigger ones on this and see how they look versus the smaller ones that I put on the other one. I wasn't a huge fan of how that looked on the other minnow, so I'm going to try the bigger ones on this and see if I like it more. I don't want to smear these. So I had the gloves question earlier. So if you don't want to wear, if you don't wear gloves, you can get oils on your baits, and if you use certain clear coats, it can cause issues with the clear coat separating from your lure. So if you really don't mind dirty hands and you hate gloves, just spray a coat of clear transparent base over your lure before you clear coat it, and that will solve any problems that you have with the clear coat adhering, because you're creating a barrier at that point between the oils that you may have transferred to your lure and whatever else you're gonna put over top as clear. So I'm just going to shade this with the green like I did the other one. And then I'm going to put like some pearl opalescent on the bottom of this just to give it a little shine, even though it's a ghost. It's still very see-through, but we'll get to that in a minute. So this sepia is not opaque at all. It just kind of lays over top of whatever you, I'm sorry, this isn't sepia, moss green. So you can see how it looks kind of like green to gold there now. If you can see that at all. And that's what you're going for there. So I'm going to shade this one real quick too. This is a lighter, this is the one that I used this is the one I used the lime green on. So this is going to be a lighter, greener color. I got major overspray on one side of this, but it's okay because you can look at the other side and be happy with that. And then the face stripes real quick, and then I'll do the spines, and then we'll have Chris talk about some fishing techniques for a few minutes if you're interested. So if you have any questions about fishing cold water lures, you can go ahead and post those anytime, and he will make a note of those mentally and answer them when he gets on, or you can ask as you go once he's on, whatever works best for you. Do you know anybody that might, might have interest in learning more about cold water fishing techniques? Share. The more the merrier. We figured since we're making these now, we should probably tell people who might not know how to use them very much or not have much experience how to fish them in ways maybe you hadn't thought of, Okay, so this is the face stripe that I use. So that gives just that little face stripe of the bass. And I'll do the others real quick, like 9 inches of snow with 30-mile-an-hour winds. That sounds, my kids would love that. Maybe like in heaven. The wind, though, kind of ruins it. We live in a very, very windy place, and it's unfortunate that sometimes, like, the weather is really beautiful and warm, or it's like you get a bunch of snow and it looks fun, but then it's like monsoon winds, which totally sucks. All right, so there we have little stripes on the bass. And I'll do the square bill real quick, and then we'll finish the spine and move on. And I'll find some eyeballs while he's talking, so you can see those when he gets done. So there's your lines on that one. And then we'll do the other side real quick. So each time I'm just holding, this is a different mesh pattern, the small mesh. Just breaks it up a little bit and makes it look kind of like what it looks like when it's on top of the scales on the bass. And then we'll go along the spine with this darker color, nice and dark. All right, so there you have the square bill baby bass. Am I missing anything? No?
It's pretty good.
Yeah, I like it. I dig it, guys. And then I said I was going to do some shimmer on this one on the belly. So I'll do that like real quick, like a second here. You'll take my mess ups. Usually I fix my mess ups. Let's see here. Okay. Are you seeing these questions?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Chris is seeing your questions. Okay, so there's the, should get the eyeballs a little bit too. I like to darken the eyeballs on these. Just a little bit. It makes the eyeballs, when you put the eyeballs on there, it makes them pop a little bit more when you have the area around the eye socket colored a little bit darker. That makes the eye pop, I think. So let's get this, I'm going to get these cleaned out, and then I'm going to put that shimmer that I was telling you about on that minnow, and then I'll turn it over to Chris. So if there's any colors that you would like to see me do that you're not seeing, don't be afraid to message me and make suggestions. I really don't mind. I actually like suggestions because I'm just going, I kind of look through different commercial blades and see what's out there. What could I do that's a little different? What could I paint that's like popular, you know? But I'm always up for more suggestions. Okay. So, whoops, I didn't say that. So this is Opal Pearlescent by Comart. Very transparent and very thin paint. So you don't need to put much on, and if you put too much on, it'll pool. So this is one of those colors that's kind of sprays like a candy almost. And it's just supposed to give it a little bit of shimmer. It's not supposed to cover anything. So I'll show you in a second what that looks like. Okay, that's good. So I don't know if you can see the shimmer on that. You can see that?
What kind of airbrush you using?
That was the Extreme Patriot 105 by Badger.
That was from Robert Woody on YouTube.
I also use the regular Patriot. The Extreme Patriot's a little more expensive. It has the high roller trigger, and it has a smaller needle, a 0.3 versus a 0.5. But this is the regular. Well, I have this Extreme Patriot rigged as a 0.5, and it's actually really nice too. I kind of like the 0.5 sometimes, so it's just personal preference. So let me get some of this crap out of the way. Are you going to do this over here?
Yeah, unless you're going to take it over to the other side, which I don't think.
Okay. So Chris is going to talk about cold water fishing, and if you have any questions for me, I can still answer those from off screen. So he's grabbing some stuff, and you want one or two? Just message me, Anthony. Do I use an olive green for bass? I use moss green. This is Wicked Detail Moss Green. But you need that has a lot of layers. I know, Cynthia, I have some of sorry, you guys probably can't see me anymore. I have some of Bob's lures actually. So those of you who don't know, Chris's grandpa, who owned the lure company, who he made lures with when he was a kid and grew up fishing with, passed away recently. And so that's been pretty sad. It was very unexpected. So I still have some of his stuff, and I'd like to make some kind of like, I don't know, like a shadow box out of or something like that. But yeah, he was a big supporter of what we were doing. So we should probably do something around that. Talk more about cold water fishing versus ice fishing. Yes, that's exactly what we're doing today, Darla, because we have no ice on Pueblo. So
Well, we do.
Well, not that you can really ice fish. So here he is.
Here he is. Move that. Or is that what you're going to read?
Nope, you're good. Go ahead.
Because I can't see.
Do you need to read this?
Nope, you can use that.
Okay.
You can use that, and I will use mine.
So anyway, he's not ready yet, I guess. So this is Chris. This is my husband, Chris. He's been fishing, let's see, 35 plus years. So he knows a couple of things. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So here you go.
Whenever you're ready, kick me up. Good evening, everybody. So Krista bribed me into coming on tonight and going over a couple of what we have been making. We've been making a bunch of blade baits for walleye and bass. So I'm going to go over a couple techniques tonight for you guys. So if you're jonesing to get out and the water is extremely cold, we're going to go through a couple of what we got going on at our store right now.
And if you guys want to see a better view of what he's doing, you can, we have the link to the YouTube channel at the bottom, and the view is much broader on YouTube. So you can just pop over there and watch
too. The hook in my hand. Can you see me?
Is that missing an eyeball?
It could be. It got beat up pretty good today.
No, you need to go this way. This way. This way. This way. There you go. Now you can see it.
I'll move the other camera because you got two cameras.
Okay. Wait.
And I will.
No, you're fine on YouTube.
Okay.
It's this one, but we
so
can't
that's
see
what?
you.
That's your fire tiger?
That is the red hot craw.
Okay. So that's not half. That's the that is the 3/4 ounce. So
yeah.
now we got the two sizes.
Yes.
Okay. So guys, what I'm using for this bigger bait, I've been throwing it on a 610 medium fast tip jerk bait rod. The fish have been suspending anywhere from 30 to 50 foot. The water temp when I was catching them was 39 to 40 degrees. I've been using the Skeet Reese jerk bait rod and also the Skeet Reese. This is I believe 7-to-1 reel. I've got it spooled with Seagar 20-pound fluorocarbon. So basically what I've been doing is what I'll do is I'll try to locate schools of fish on your fish finder. And once I find a school of fish, I'll back, 50 to 100 feet. And then if you got, for Colorado, it's deep. So I hit spot lock. And if the wind's blowing, I'll get to the back of the boat. And you just fire this bait out. Let it go all the way to the bottom. Once you're on bottom, what I'll do is I go, you'll feel it thump the bottom. What you do is you just barely pull the bait. You'll feel it vibrate 4 or 5 times, and then stop it. Let it sit, pull it, 3, 4 little vibrates, stop it. And let it keep hitting that bottom. And every time you pull it from that bottom, it goes up and then straight down. Goes up, straight down. And that fish, the walleye or the bass, when that thing vibrates and goes down, it puts a cloud around it. But usually you get bit on the fall, just like a jig bite. When you go get ready to pull it again, the weight's loaded up on the rod. So at that point, you don't need to really set the hook too dramatically. You just need to sweep the rod because these hooks are so sharp. And with the weight of the bait, you don't want to overpower it to where it slingshoots the bait out of their mouth. So basically, you're gonna hook them probably in the back treble. It's gonna be in the corner of their mouth 90% of the time. Now, a few months ago, they would eat that thing and they would choke the whole bait. But as the water gets colder, they're a lot more lethargic and they don't pick that bait up like they normally do. And I've been out the last 2 weekends and I haven't been bit. So, but it was working for a couple fish here and there. But that's been a pretty decent color this year, last couple of months. The next bait I've been throwing and getting bites on pretty consistently still, at least for walleye, is She's got her tail spinner. I forget the other name that they have for that, but she calls it her spin devil. So what I do with that bait is I throw that on a, I think this is a 6.6 medium spinning reel setup. I throw this on 8-pound line. What I do with this bait mainly is I use it basically the same principle as the blade bait, but I end up doing a slow retrieve and just bumping bottom the whole time. So as you're reeling that bait, it's hitting bottom and it's kicking up mud, and then I'll stop it. And I'll go real slow again. I'll go about a foot and I stop it. I just keep killing it every foot and a half. And usually when you kill it, that's when they come up and they pick it up. So I've caught some trout on it, crappie. This tail spinner will do a phenomenal job in a bunch of species, not just bass. So wipers, especially if the water's got some color to it, that's been a good color. The smallies have been fairly consistent on that bait up till the last week. So that was been a good little second runner in my box. And then the third one, which I started throwing today, has been some spoons.
Rob asked if you can fish the blades ice fishing.
Yes, I use blade baits for walleye and in smallmouth ice fishing. They're a great lure, especially if you got a Vexlar or hummingbird ice or anything, an active target to where you can see what you're doing. Usually fish those off the bottom or the fish are suspended. So the other one I've been throwing, guys, is this is a spoon. This is an 1.5 ounce spoon. This is plain old shad colored. Throwing this on 25-pound line. This is a heavy action 7-foot 4-inch rod, and I got that on a Skeet Reese 7.6 to 1. So this one you fish a little bit differently. So what I was doing today was I was trying to locate schools of fish anywhere from 30 to 50 again. And what you're doing is once you find where they're located, you let this thing go straight to the bottom. Once you feel it hit bottom, you reel up, and then you're gonna jerk the rod probably from say tip of the water up about 6 foot in the air, and then gradually let it go down. And then what I'll do is I'll go another pull, and then I'll flutter it back down, and then I'll do a 2. I'll go 1, 2, and let it go down. And when they usually bite that, it'll be on the fall. But you want to make sure you're consistently got some tension on that line, because if you don't, the weight of the bait will pull that. You want to keep some type of pressure on that, so when they hit it, you feel it, and then you set the hook. And you do want to drive that one home pretty good, especially because of the weight of the lure. You want to drill them, and then you want to crank them all the way up to the top of the lake, get them in the boat, because half the time as you're swinging them in the boat, the hook's coming out of their mouth. So those are the 3 baits that I've been using this winter. Like I said, I haven't been knocking the socks off them out here, but to go out in a January or December day and catch a bass, I'm pretty happy with that in Colorado. So, 4 hours of fishing for one fish, I'll take that any day over ice fishing for me. So, give it a shot. I know she's got some in stock. My setup's not, G Loomis or anything. I throw because we used to purchase a lot of Eagle Claw hooks, and my stepdad's pro staff for Eagle Claw, so I used to get some pretty good rates for Eagle Claw. But I guess they're discontinuing these rods, so I don't know what I'll start using after this year. So, you guys got any questions? PM Krista or me. I'll be more than happy to. If you guys want to see an on live on our video, I'll be more than happy to do one. I can put the camera up. I got some tabs on the boat, and I'll be more than happy to do a video for you guys. So Other than that, that's what I had for you guys tonight. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Again, give it a shot. If you're tired of sitting at home and you got some open water, go locate some schools of fish, back off them. If you got a spot lock or a ghost, and you can just hold on them. Try doing the vertical with the spoon or the tail spinner. Blow through the school of fish and then bring it back up to them. Once you get them fired up, usually you can get one or two out of that school. But the water temp for here being 39 is cold and pretty tough. Hopefully you guys got some keys for your winter time.
All right.
Back to you.
I hurt his back today and tweaked something. So he's kind of hurting. Anyway, thanks everybody for watching. If you wanted to ask any other questions, I am happy to answer via PM. I can give you a sneak peek of what's going to be. I don't know if you're going to be able to see me on YouTube show this, but these are all going to be in the store here shortly. There's a lot more there than you can see. So if you're looking for a good red spring craw, they are beautiful and very detailed, and they just look great. So I'll get those clear coated this weekend, hopefully, and have them in the store. And if you want anything custom made, just shoot me a PM or an email is the easiest way to reach me. Then I can respond to you when I have a moment. And I'll try and get back to you as fast as possible. So thanks everybody for watching. You can order anything in stock on ColoradoCustomLures.com. Everything I have available is there. And we'll see you guys next week. Take care. Bye-bye. I get